It's Monday night. Hey, you boys on location, but we still coming to you. Monday night in the city. How about your YouTube? We got you too. Facebook Live. Where's everybody in Dozell tonight? Hey, we are so excited to bring to you tonight. Our most important. I can't clown like I really want to clown and play a little bit. This is a serious matter. Tonight we're celebrating National Voter Registration Day, which is tomorrow, and we are blessed to have. Um, I can't think of anybody better than maybe Fannie Lou Hamer to be here than our beloved Dr. LaVon Bracy is going to be with us and share some significant history. Brother John Brown, who is planning the program for us, the fellows are together, the Democracy Fellows of Faith in Florida together. Hey, what a fellowship, what a joy divine, leaning on the everlasting arm, all of that. We're together. And we got our dear sister, Ellie Justice, is with us tonight. She's going to talk about that beloved Project 2025. I got you, beloved. Okay, so we're going to come on in a minute. I'm sorry about that, Mom. I didn't mean to say that. We're coming at you in just a second. Dr. Bracy, how are you, ma'am?
I am wonderful.
And how are you, Miss Linda? Miss Justice?
That's okay. I'm good. Thank you. How are
And
you?
I am great, thank you. We're so glad. Brother John Brown, where you at, man? Is he with us? Okay, so we're going to do this thing. We're going to carry it. I know he's having some location technical issues. We're going to make this thing happen. And Doc, just kind of give us a very, very scant introduction, a brief intro as to what National Voter Registration Day is, please.
National Voter Registration Day is celebrated all over the country. And I have been working with Faith in Florida almost 4 years. And when I was given the opportunity to be director of democracy, uh, I began to say we need to make sure that we celebrate National Voter Registration Day every year. The first year we went to Ocoee, and we went to Ocoee, Florida, because of its significance. We know that in the city of Ocoee in 1920, July Perry was hung because he wanted to vote. His friend wanted to go and vote, and his friend could not vote. And then there was a mob that really came to July Perry's house, and literally um, there was problems in the mob, and July Perry began to shoot others, and so many white people got killed. They arrested July Perry. The mob came and took July Perry out of the jail, and they lynched him. And he was lynched because he was attempting to vote. This was really serious. And the mob went back and then decided to burn down the black town of Ocoee. Those who lived in Ocoee and had businesses, they lost everything. And from 1920 until 1980, no blacks lived in the city of Ocoee. And this was just a horrible experience. And so we went to Ocoee to talk about voter registration and to talk about the significance of that. We also have gone to Mims, Florida, and we know that Harriet Moore were killed on Christmas Day, 1951. It was their anniversary, their 25th wedding anniversary, and they were killed because of voting. Harry Moore was uh, uh, a part of the NAACP. He was the executive director of the NAACP for the state, and he had done over 200,000 voter registration. He was considered very strong in that particular area, and those who were in power just did not like it. So they plant a bomb under his house. He died immediately that Christmas. And his no, yeah, he died immediately. His wife lived for 9 more days, but they were killed because of the work that they had done to register voters. So this year, we're going to Daytona, and we're going to Daytona because of the significance of what Mary McLeod Bethune did. Also in 1920, when July Perry was having problems in Ocoee. The the in 1920 at Bethune Cookman, it was a small institution at that particular time. And Mary McLeod Bethune had went to register many blacks as she possibly could because there was a Ku Klux Klanman that was running for a commission officer. And there was a person who had come to the college and said, if you would support me, I would make certain that the college gets monies that they need and blacks would be treated fairly. So when Mary McLeod Bethune did all of this work, the Klan decided to come on the campus and surround Whitehall. And Mary McLeod Bethune turned all of the lights off. And at this time, it was an all female university school. And they began to sing. And as they began to sing, the Klansmen left one by one. And the very next morning, Mary McLeod Bethune got up very early in that morning and she gathered all of the blacks. Blacks had to always be the last to vote. They would have to let all of the whites vote first and then blacks would vote later. And so she had every person that she registered stand in line all day long. And then at the end, after every white had voted, the blacks have voted, and the Klansman lost, and the person that supported her, the support said that they would give her the support that she needed, won. And because of that, I thought it was very significant because she played a great part in terms of registering voters in the Daytona area. So every year we try to go somewhere that has some significant history about voter registration and about this great state of Florida.
So this is I've been blessed to take part in the last two, and I missed the one in Ocoee. In Ocoee, that was, I don't know how I feel. I've mixed emotions about that with all of the deaths that surrounded that. I told y'all Dr. Bracy is a walking encyclopedia. Um, Last year, and Miss Justice, I'm gonna bring you in just a second. We're gonna just immerse our conversation tonight. And of course, we had her on, and she just we did a lot of talk about Harriet T. and Harriet Moore because we were just fascinated. And anybody who goes by Mims, Florida, please veer your car off the interstate. It's only a few blocks off of 95. It's kind of like simulated. The house is kind of back in the back. The original house seemingly was surrounded by a lot of big trees, and they do their best to simulate it. It's a fascinating museum, and our history is so tied up in that. And those are heroes. You know, Dr. Bracy has a story of her own. She's too modest to tell it. We have to tell it. She has registered probably 10,000 voters herself at one point or another. At one point, she's done more than that, but at one point, she's done that herself, not her fellows, but Dr. Bracy herself. But Harriet Moore traveled around, not when we had the luxury of I-95, but he traveled on back streets and
Absolutely.
and made it because it was his life's mission. And we just I just can't tell you how fascinated I was with learning that history. Miss Justice, pop in and just, I know this is, we're going to talk about the project, but just join in on this with Dr. Bracy, if you would, and elaborate.
Yeah, I really wanted to because I've said this before to a couple of people. I'm from Jersey. I grew up in New Jersey, and being here in Florida and hearing these stories, I did not know. Northerners think of Florida as Disney and the beach. I did not know the rich history, Black history that Florida has. Unfortunately, a lot of that history is actually a violent history because of white supremacists and oppressors. But when I hear the stories um, about what people have gone through in the state of Florida, just to be able to exist, it really touches me in a way that that I didn't expect it to, because the only thing, hate to say this, and I love Jersey, don't get me wrong, but it's not rich in Black history the way that Florida is. And I learned a lot about that working on the Black History Project. And so I love to hear the strength and the resilience that Black people in Florida have had, um, fighting for their rights, fighting against oppression, insisting on being treated humanely, and not allowing the external environment and the political you know atmosphere to to turn them into people that they were not. So we just maintained who we are as a people. And despite what was done to us, despite, and that's historical. Despite the lynchings, despite the bombings, despite, all the things that occurred in our history as a people, but we just persist. And I love to hear those stories.
and,
But
and and we must continue to talk about them. We live in a state where they are trying to eradicate and erase our history. So
Mm-hmm.
those of us who know the history, we need to make sure that we repeat our history and tell it to generations, so that those who are behind us will know accurate history, and not the history that they are trying to eliminate and try to pretend that things did not happen in Florida. I think that when you are true and honest about history, it makes us stronger. It makes us have an America that will face reality. And what knowing the history tells us, we need to know the history, and we need to vow that we will not allow these things ever to happen again. A
Mm-hmm.
person who does not know their history are doomed to repeat it. So it's incumbent upon us to know our history.
Yes.
Reverend John Brown, for those of you all who know him, know he's incognito. He's in his mod outfit. I'm used to seeing him dignitary down, collar and everything, bishop's robe, all of the attire. Uh, I'm gonna tell you what sacrifice he's making. I'll keep that internal. He going to eat y'all and left me, and I'm joking. Um, Bishop Brown, I'm going to ask you in a second to talk about. I didn't mean to promote you. Maybe that was prophetically spoken.
Mhm.
I want to ask you shortly to elaborate on why we're here in the program that you have spearheaded. Uh, but just elaborate for a second on some of the your sentiments. I think Miss Sister Justice just did a great job of elaborating, being a Northerner. Just elaborate on the significance of this date of National voter registration. And being a democracy fellow, you've taken part in these last two celebrations, and just kind of just briefly hit on them. I'll let you really hit on that shortly.
Yes, and thank you for the invitation to the show. And I apologize for being incognito, but I felt it important that I be on. Didn't have a clue what we'd be discussing, but being ready to discuss whatever in what we are going to be doing on tomorrow. And as I listen to Dr. Bracy, it just reflects back on our Sunday school lesson, our Bible Discovery Hour lesson for this coming Sunday. And it talks about celebration, and it talked about celebrating the Passover and why Israelites and the Jews were so adamant about celebrating Passover, because they wanted everybody to know why they celebrated Passover. It was not just a big party for them to eat and have fun, but there was a lot of history behind it. What happened to them in Egypt, and them being brought out of Egypt during the Passover. And as I thought about that lesson, I related it to the special events that we have here in America, in the secular world, Independence Day and Juneteenth event, and in the biblical stating, if you will, Christmas and Easter. And we have a lot of people that celebrate those days, but they really don't know why they celebrate them. They're just celebrating them. Tomorrow is National Voters Registration Day. And how many people do you think there are in this country that know that tomorrow is National Voters Registration Day? And why do we have a National Voters Registration Day? Is it a national holiday? No, it's not one of those days where, a lot of people get off work and get to have barbecues and all of those things. But to people who protect our democracy, people who do what we do, it is very important to us. And being that it is very important to us, we have to teach our people why it's important to us. There were a lot of sacrifices made in order for us to be able to have the right to vote. And those people that go to the poll to vote in our primaries and go to the polls to vote in our general elections, they need to know the sacrifices that were made to have that opportunity. And that's what we're about on tomorrow. And what we try to do is strategically go to places where we feel like those battles have been fought and won. Last year, we were in Mims, out in the middle of nowhere, but a lot of history up in there. The year before that, we were in Ocoee, and a lot of people probably know about what happened in Ocoee. A lot of the same sentiments when it relates to voters registration and being able to vote happened in Daytona Beach as well. And that's why we're in Daytona Beach on tomorrow. And, if we don't get out and promote our own cause, then nobody else is going to do it for us. Yes, there is a National Voters Registration Day, but how important is it to the masses?
So we're gonna talk shortly about the program itself, Doc Brown. Glad you were able to be here with us, and thank you for that history. Doc, I know you. I would almost say you're already thinking next year, the following year, and boy, will it be hard to think of another place. But I'm sure it has been enough bloodshed and prejudice spread around the great state of Florida that won't be a challenge for you, will it?
No, 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 it will not. I mean, we've stayed in the Central Florida area. We have not even gone North Florida, and South Florida has some history too. So it's just a matter of where we would choose to go next year and bring about some more history of what happens in the great state of Florida. I think next year we'll go further. We'll go further north, and leave the Central Florida area.
What year was it that this occurred? This historic voter situation occurred with Dr. Bethune and the ladies at Bethune at that
19,
time. Bethune.
it happened in 1920. It happened in 1920, the same time that the Ocoee massacre happened. The Ocoee massacre happened, and then they tried to intimidate because the voter registration day was the same nationwide. And so they went to Daytona in an attempt to intimidate Mary McLeod Bethune so that those blacks that she registered would not show up to vote.
Miss Linda, isn't it a blessing? I mean, this is, and I understand you're learning some of this. My family and I lived up north for about almost 10 years, and we were surprised to know the lack of, unless there were some people recently from the South, that our children up there just had really no knowledge or no relation to what we have gone through down here in the South. And Dr. Bracy's story is more than compelling, as we've heard have on this show. But were you bringing up young people today of your own? What would be your message to them in light of this, even these new things that we're learning since our affiliation with Faith in Florida through Dr. Bracy?
You caught me off guard.
Another reason, but I just know that there's so much that you can share.
No, I know, I agree. I mean, you know what? I would actually, I'm going to change your question. So because, and here's why. Here's why. Because I want us, our generation, not to discount the younger people. And not to think that we always have to teach them because they're never going to learn. There's a lot that young people know that and they teach us. And I say that because of my youngest daughter. I go to her all the time, and we have conversations about global issues, not just, what's going on in this country. I learn a lot from her. And so that's why I wanted to change your question, because I don't want us to feel like we always have to be the ones teaching. A lot of times we need to be the ones listening. So, but there has to be a back and forth. Of course, we're responsible for teaching young people, but we're also responsible for listening to them and learning from them, but also, understanding their perspective. They have a very different perspective on this country and on the world than we have. So, I think there needs to be a mutual place, a mutual meeting place where we can sit down together and truly learn from each other. And you'd be surprised, how much they actually do know when you just listen.
Pastor Brown and myself are in the schools in different sections of the state, taking this democracy training to our younger people. And I just had a brutal experience. I don't even want to face Dr. Bracy with some of my numbers. I had a brutal experience this past weekend with young people. There is apathy is not even a word. And apathy does not begin to, and you on one hand you say, man, I am sure glad that our children did not have to experience what we went through. But the sad part about it is that these children have, because they have no clue of it, they can't relate to the price that's been paid. Yellow pain in our retreats and all. Pastor Varner brings the yellow pain videos, and he updates those videos quite often. And you think that would grab kids' attention? They don't care. I personally ask 2 or 3 kids, "What's your impression about voting?" And you don't want to hear some of the reactions. But I tell you what, we're going to go to break, and we're going to come back, and you're going to talk about Project 2025. Dr. Brace is going to share some more history and the perspective on what we're doing, and Pastor Brown is going to talk specifically about tomorrow's program. But let me just share this. It was around 2000, the year 2000. Do you all remember the national television campaign, Rock the Vote? It was it was on everything. So it was Rock the Vote that was spearheaded by the League of Women Voters, Operation Head Count, and other organizations, church groups and civic organizations, civil rights organizations across the nation that got our country to really want to put some teeth into the fact that National Voter Registration Day is a day that we need to celebrate, and that it will keep people interested in democracy. That was when democracy was accepted. It has since been attacked. Okay, so in 2012, on September 25th, we had the actual first National Voter Registration Day, and several presidents have pushed it. Some have not. 45. Lord, I didn't mean to say that. 45. It comes, so as we're learning with Black history, thank God for Pastor Rhonda's vision about faith in Florida. We have to be the one to get it out there. We have to be the one to fight it and push it out. And that's what we're doing. So that's where we're going to go to break, and we're coming right back. We got an exciting half hour left. We're going to go into, we're going to look at a little these are the reasons why voting are important. Voting is important. Voting is important. My mama, I hope she missed that part. Voting is important. Well, I do know that part. So one of the amendments deals with, one of the local amendments deals with removing citizen review boards. Can you believe that, from the police? From the police? And we're going to talk about that just after the break. Let's go to the break, and we'll be right back. The celebrities who already know that you got to get the best if you want to be the best. GoGigaWorld.com. I think I saw Anthony Hamilton. I know I did. And others. They know. Listen, GoGigaWorld.com can make this brother look acceptable. If they can make me look good, you know they can make you look good. They'll get your brand. They'll get your merchandise. They will market you to the hill, web building, all of those things. GoGigaWorld.com. We're so grateful for you. This has been a minute, but tonight we got this really hurts, but I got to bring my boy into the spotlight. Let's bring him up. Shannon Shaw, my brother. Shannon Shaw. Dang dog. It's been a minute since we've done a dang dog. We got to get to this week, bro. It really kills me to do you, Shay. He has built quite a media conglomerate with the Club Shay. He just had concluded an awesome interview with Damon Winans, and he had some of the better ones. But dang, dog, how in the world do you mess up on social media? That's the platform that really gets you out there. Yes, you're on First Take. Yeah, you with your boy Stephen A. You guys got it going on weekday mornings, on Mondays and Tuesdays, 10 o'clock on ESPN. Shameless plug. But you've gone out and created your own monster of a thing. Club Shay Shay, the late night thing that you do with Ocho Cinco, off the chain. How in the world do you use social media and you let social media mess you up? Dang, dog. So because this is a family-friendly show, I'm not going to talk too much about what you did. I'll just say you were on IG and it was live and people heard you in a setting that most people would probably prefer not to be heard in. Y'all get the picture? Yeah, that was my dog there, Shannon Sharp. Dang, dog. Shay Shay, you just signed that big contract with ESPN. We still with you, brother. We're going to roll and ride with you to the end of time. Keep doing the good work. Don't let that happen again. Dang, dog. Okay. All right. Yeah, it was him. That's who it was, Shannon Sharp. Okay, we want to get serious again. We want to look at this video, and because of the audience that we have, we want to bring this video up. I know this happened last week. It was hot, and my partner in crime, my brother was here. My co-partner on this show was here, my co-host. But we want to look at this, and just because of we got a historian. We have a contemporary. We have a brother in the clergy. Let's just take a second. Let's look at that video.
How's there speeding? Move forward.
Don't knock on my window like that, man.
Why don't you have your seatbelt on?
Don't knock on my window.
Why don't you have your seatbelt
Don't knock
on?
on my window like that, no.
Like what?
Don't knock on my window like that.
Why you have it up?
Don't knock on my window like that.
Why you have it up? I have to knock to let you know I'm here.
Don't knock
That
on
way you
my
can
window.
lower it and talk to
Just
you.
get my ticket, bro, so I can go. I'm finna be late, gang. Do what you gotta do.
Keep it down. Hey! Keep your window down. Hey! Keep your window down.
Don't tell me what.
Keep your window down. I'm gonna get you out of the car. As a matter of fact, get out of the car.
Give me that.
Get out of the car.
Give me that. I'm gonna break that freaking window.
Get out of the car.
I'm finna get out.
Get out of the car right now. We're not playing this game. Get out.
Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out. Damn. What part of blood are you in this car? Hey, Drew, I'm getting arrested, Drew. I'm getting arrested. I'm getting arrested, Drew. I'm getting out, bro. God damn, twin.
When we tell you to do something, you do it. You understand?
I'm getting out,
You
bro.
understand? Not what you want, but what we tell you.
I'm getting
You're a
out.
little confused.
I'm getting out, bro.
Too late.
Chill,
Too
bro.
late.
All right, bro. Take me to jail, bro. Do what you gotta do, bro.
We are. We will.
Good, bro.
It is good.
Hey, hey,
Don't worry about it. I hung up the phone. You stop crying.
bro. God. You know my woman like she's crazy. Hey, y'all beating on my woman like y'all crazy, bro. What's going on, bro? Beating on my woman like he's crazy. I ain't do nothing, twin. Dang. Hey, hold on. Pull to the side, yo, Lou. Hey.
So, for the 5 people in America who's not aware of what happened on last Sunday, on his way to his game, Miami Dolphin, a star wide receiver Tyreek Hill was arrested and he was given 2 citations, one for reckless driving, one for not having a seatbelt on. Reckless driving is a catch-all. If you're not able to get the gun, the speed gun, and catch the speed of a person, and you know they're driving fast, that's the charge that you give them. According to witnesses, Tyreek was going somewhere in the area, probably close to 100 miles per hour. He was in that blocked-in zone around the stadium that no one could travel in except players and so forth. So he just saw he saw the toy he was driving. It was a free lane of traffic, and he broke the law. There were several things that happened. He was told to let his window down. You could not see through well. He refused to keep it consistently down, and he was drugged from the car, slammed to the concrete. Um, Later on in the video, he's standing up, and they go to slam him back down. He said, "Wait a minute, man! I heard surgery on my knee." They had one of them said something to the effect that we don't care, and threw him back to the ground again. While this was happening, Calais Campbell, who was the NFL Citizen of the Year, Man of the Year, that's what that amounts to, a couple of years ago, while with the Jacksonville Jaguars, stopped by and saw what was happening, and Tyreek asked him to stay there. He said, "I'm not going nowhere. I'm going to stay here with you, bro." And the police told him to leave the area. They went over there and handcuffed him and another player, Miami Dolphin player. No one was arrested, but this happened, and it created quite a national debate. I'm going to let you all weigh in on it. One of the things was that he should have let the window down. It was stated. The officer that you heard doing most of the talking, and of course those bleeps were F-bombs that he was dropping. He was given administrative. He's on administrative assignment, probably inside somewhere. It came out he has been brought for several disciplinary charges in the past, and we listened to Shannon and Stephen A. talk about it, and other football players, and the bottom line is, if you're Black in America, you were taught. My daddy gave me the lecture. I gave it to my son. When the police stop you, windows down, hands up or on the steering wheel. I remember having mine on the ceiling, and they told me to take mine. I said, "Nope, I'm not doing it." The officer just walked off laughing. I said, "No, I'm not taking my hands down, officer." He laughed, but it wasn't funny to me. What hurt me during the conversation with those sportscasters, what really hurt me to my heart is, see, you got to do it if you're Black. You got to do it. And that's what hurt. Why do we have to?
Exactly.
Well, I'm just thankful that the police didn't kill him, because they are so hot-handed and have no respect for many of us. And I've seen it many of times, and it has made national news. And it's awful. It's sad, but the reality is, I've taught both of my children to make sure that they are always respectful when it comes to policemen. Now, I haven't had as much trouble with my son as I do with my daughter, merely because she is an attorney and knows her rights, and she will go word for word with policemen. And I have always told her, just learn to be quiet and deal with the courts later. And that's what we have to have. Unfortunately, this is the reality, because policemen know that usually they will be exonerated of all charges if they kill somebody that looks like us.
Sad. Pastor Brown. Pastor Brown, what's your take on this?
Let me speak from a coach's standpoint, and let me also speak from a teacher's standpoint. Let me speak from a parent standpoint. And I preference it that way because when I hear how you staged the event, and I hear and see what is being shown on television, you don't get the full story. I just happen to know that being a coach, athletes oftentimes feel like they're above the rules and the regulations in the school system. They feel like they're above the law when it comes to the law. And I just think that a lot of that could have been prevented if this high profile athlete would just have obeyed the orders of the police officer, you were violating the law. You're going to get stopped. Not only that, you are going to treat me like I'm not supposed to do my job because I'm this big football star that played for the Miami Dolphins or whoever. And it just puts us, when I say us, people who protect democracy and people in ministry and parents in the community in a position where we have to feel sorry for what the police did to you and how the police treated you simply because you disrespect authority. Now, when I view it and look at it from a perspective of a teacher in the classroom, I tell people all the time, in the 42 years that I was in the school system, I dealt with a lot of those type things. And in dealing with those type of things, I know that athletes are treated one way when their sport is in season, and when their sport is out of season, they're treated a totally different way. For instance, during football season, football player can get away with anything on campus. Football season is over, they better do what they're supposed to do until football season starts again. And see, when those kids and those young people come out of college and out of the high school and get into college, they are still doing the same thing. And when they get into the professional realm, making all of that money, they feel like, that money can get them out of anything. But there's a little more to it than that. Sometimes it might cost you your life. How many people are going to go out there marching to protect them from police officers that they feel like stepped over the line? And they they're human and they step over the line from time to time, and when they do, they need to be punished. But then, when our athletes and our role models out in the community step over the line, then they need to be punished as well. They need to be held accountable.
For the record, and I like the perspective across the gamut of perspective of the four of us actually. Tyreek has said he could have done better. He could have handled the situation better, but he also asked if his name was not Tyreek Hill, what could have happened? So it did. This was last week's hot news. Just wanted to kind of throw it out there since we're Pastor John Brown. Could you take about 3 minutes? And I hate we're fighting time, and we got to get into Project 2025. Would you please just take a few minutes and give us the highlights of our program tomorrow and the wins and wheres and so forth?
Yes, the program is. We initially tried to have it at Bethune-Cookman College on the campus, but we're not able to do that. So we're having it at a church right down the street from campus, close proximity of the campus. And we will be having about a 1 hour program where we will have singing, we will have praying, we will have speeches coming from different community leaders. NAACP president in Daytona Beach will be one of our speakers. We're going to have a young man from Emory-Riddle, who is a student. That's going to be one of our speakers. We're going to have a young lady from Bethune-Cookman University. That's going to be one of our speakers. We're going to have one of our own fellows that works with Faith in Florida. That's going to speak on behalf of not the returning citizens. He plans to include that in his speech as well. But veterans, he will be speaking on. And we're going to have a number of young people who have registered that's going to be in attendance. That's going to give a short reason why they registered to vote and why they feel like it's important um, to register and to vote. We're going to have one of our fellows, Reverend Betty Watson, who is going to emulate Dr. Bracy. And when I say emulate Dr. Bracy, I know that she can never be Dr. Bracy, but she have a couple of Dr. Braceless speeches, why we must vote and where do we go from here, that she's going to combine the two together. And she's going to give that speech, that presentation to those who are in attendance. And at the end, we are going to give out three uh, uh, QR codes. One QR code is going to be why we must vote. The second QR code is going to be where do we go from here? And the other QR code would be registering to vote, how you can do it, how you can check your voter's registration status, how you can make changes to your voter's registration, uh, and how you can register to vote. So when everybody leave there, they're going to have a sheet of paper that have those three QR codes, and we're going to ask them to at least commit to getting 5 to 10 people involved with us and what we are doing. So that's kind of what we're going to be doing on tomorrow. And then we'll finish the day by having some food. And there's going to be an event, a voters registration event on Bethune-Cookman College. And we are going to leave there. When I say we, our Dr. Bracy fellows are going to be going over to Bethune-Cookman University to be a part of the celebration that they are having over there as well.
Dr. Bracy, you want to add anything? Thanks, Dr. Brown.
Yes. Yeah, I did get a call from Bethune-Cookman, and they were inviting us to make sure that, in fact, they are having events for 3 days, tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, and want us to make sure that while we're there, we're part of what they are doing. And they were kind of concerned that we didn't get the approval to come to the campus because they would really like to have had us and hosted us there.
Well, let me just say personally, and I'm saying this on behalf of all of the Democracy Fellows of Faith in Florida. I don't know what precipitated your trip being canceled, but we are more than elated that you're going to be with us tomorrow. Just Pastor John Brown took this and organized and did an awesome job with it. But knowing that you are there is just going to really make it the program that it's meant to be. So,
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'll share a word or two at the end, but I'm delighted to sit back and just to see how you've done such a marvelous job in planning it and making this a very successful day.
Awesome. We're going to pivot over for the remaining moments. Sister Justice did a remarkable, and I know I'm not treating her fairly. We may have to come back on and do this at another time. We just had so much to get to tonight. We want her to just, if you could just give us the landscape of your presentation, some of the highlights, and we may, if we can get you back on maybe before November the 7th or 5th, maybe we'll have to get you to come back and go more in depth. But tell us about that Bedeviled Project 2025.
Yes. So I'm sure everyone's heard by now. If you haven't, though, Project 2025 is a conservative policy plan. They say this on their website, that they want to be implemented in 2025 for the next conservative president. This is what they state. One of the things that people may not know about it is that it's been around a long time. It's backed by over 100 organizations, politicians, uh, judges. There are a lot of people that support this project, and they on their web on their Heritage Foundation is leading this effort, and they state on their website it started out in the 80s where they wrote this plan for Ronald Reagan, and they proudly say that he implemented 60% of it. They also talk about how other presidents. I think it was George W. That's the son. George W. Bush implemented some in his second term, and they also talk about how Trump implemented some when he was in office. So this is an ongoing thing. Um, I don't have time to go into detail, but what this is doing is basically legislating harm against already marginalized people. So there's a lot of things in there that are against women, against Black people, against the LGBTQ plus community. Like I said, against already marginalized people, designed to marginalize them even further. And so, I there's so much to it. There is a graphic. I don't know if we have it to show, but there's a list of it. There we go. That's a list of issues. The training that I have been doing on this is to talk about each individual issue and the impact that these will have. So you'll see, I'm going to, so don't, I'm going to look at my own slides from my training. So some of the things, and let me explain, because I've gone to the Project 2025 Twitter page and they deny a lot of this, but their denial is in a lot of times is in verbiage, because they're saying, no, we didn't say that. Yes, you didn't say that, but here's what you did say that means the exact same thing. Or there are groups that are supported by the Heritage Foundation that are pushing for this, or other groups of conservatives that are pushing for this. So, like I said, it's over 100 organizations that are pushing for this. So it's not just all contained in the one book. So things like ending no fault divorce, banning abortions, banning contraceptives, giving tax breaks to corporations, taxing the working class even higher, eliminating unions, cutting Social Security and increasing the retirement age, cutting Medicare and the Affordable Care Act. These are some of the many, many things that Project 2025 is really pushing for. But not only that, in the state of Florida, it's been happening. We have HB7 that got passed has banned the teaching of African American studies, and nothing can be taught in the state of Florida that teaches about systemic racism or sexism or oppression. They label anything that has to do with gender identity as pornography. It's such a heinous policy plan that, if implemented, it will destroy this country as we know it. And we have to do everything in our power to keep this from happening? Or, and this is the title where we have the future with a question mark. Or, you know, if we just allow this to happen, is this what we want our future to be? So, yeah, it's beyond belief. Beyond belief.
The spin machine has been remarkable. I heard you talking about the denials that they have done. They've tried to spin it, and I'm gonna put you on the spot. If you're covenant to come back on the show, we're gonna have to get you back on and go in more in depth. Dr. Bracy taught all the fellows, because all of us, Faith in Florida is a faith-based organization, and the concept of abortion is one that we probably would not support just dry long so, and I know I'm speaking across the board, taking a limb, going out there. But the thing we know about abortion is not about a spiritual or moral thing with our brothers and sisters whose skin complexion is lighter than ours. It's about numbers. 2034 is when the colored people, black and brown people, were supposed to become the dominant races in America. That has been pushed up to 2027, and the clock is ticking. And so abortion is about having white babies. We heard Lindsey Graham say, have babies, have babies. Well, Lindsey probably won't be having any, but I think that's another conversation. But he said, have babies, have babies. And it's because of the numbers game that they're playing. Listen, before we go, three great guests, and it's almost an injustice we couldn't take the time to really go into tomorrow's program or talk more about the history of National Voter Registration Day, or really spend time on Project 25. But John Brown, if you'll take 20 seconds, if you was learning, Ms. Just take 20 seconds, and if you, Dr. Bracy, would take a minute, and we'll recap. And if anybody has anything to say, tell them to go through me on that. John Brown. Ms. Justice, go ahead.
Okay. He may not know he's muted. So just please learn, you know what, when I come back, we can deep dive a little bit, but learn about Project 2025. The PDF to the book is available. Read it for yourself. It's 922 pages, but take your time. Read a little bit at a time. Read 5 pages a night. Get to know what is really happening, because if you don't, and you stand up for justice, you will regret it.
Thank you, ma'am. Pastor John, can you take 20 seconds and
20 seconds and do what?
Sum up your sentiments.
Yeah, I'm glad that we have the opportunity to do this National Voter Registration Day event, and just kind of listening to Dr. Bracy saying that we just have been concentrating our efforts last several years in the Central Florida area, and there's areas all over the state of Florida that we need to be touching. And it's all a learning experience for me as well. And I just hope that we can just get the word out to more people. I would like to see the venues that we use for these events to be full of people concerned about the things that we are concerned about.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Dr. Bracy.
I just like to make sure that everybody knows that democracy is on your ballot. And if you want for us to have a great state of Florida, you need to vote. You need to make sure your voices are heard. And we are laser focused on making sure that everybody who registers, we need them to vote. We are looking at the young persons between the ages of 18 and 40, the millennials and the Gen Zers, because that group has not turned out as forcefully as they could. And if we can get them to know how important their voices are, they can help change the world.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Sister Justice, Sister L.A. Justice, and thank you so much, Brother Brown. Thank you all kindly for making a nice dialogue. Listen,
Thank you for having me.
this would not be, this would not really, we could not sign off tonight without dedicating tonight's show to two great ones who left us. Frankie Beverly, what family reunion? I love that picture of him. What family reunion does not play? Yeah, what reunion would there be if it was not him saying, we are one? Before I let you go, a Southern Girls. His silky smooth voice is just heard throughout, echoes throughout all of our minds, throughout all of our history. And so, thank you, Freddie. Thank you, brother, for those 77 years, Frankie. Thank you for what you did. Thank you. Yours is a message of love, peace, and joy. My man always dressed in that white suit too, and just bringing us together as a people. And we love you, brother, and we thank God. Our prayers and hearts go out to your families. Thank you for what you do to our culture. And only to learn today, our producers are the best. I'm telling you, that Go Giga team is off the chain. To wake up this morning and learn that we lost another legend, the second member of the Jackson Five, or the Jacksons. Tito Jackson left us this morning while driving across country. Apparently had some kind of heart complication, and he left us at age 70. Tito used to always say that you were not the most dancing Jackson, and I think you alluded to other aspects of appeal. Brother, it was your heart that reached us. You were a genuine brother. You were a genuine article. And we are just more than grateful that you were stationed on this earth to make it a better place. Just what happened, you did it in an ensemble. You did it with the group. But stars always shining. Stars are not always those who make the most noise or the most glamorous or dress the best. It's the one who the glamour is in their genuineness. And thank you. Tonight's dialogue with Dozell, Frankie Beverly, and Tito Jackson, we dedicate that to you. Go Giga, you're the best. We love you. Go out and vote. Go out and vote. You only have to October 5th to register. Go out and vote. Go out and vote. We'll be in Daytona. We're registering. Come by tomorrow. Go out and vote. Dialogue with Dozell. We love you.